There are so many interesting things in Bluey episodes that sometimes we don't really stop to think deeply about certain details. But have you noticed that there are many unanswered questions inside this animated show? Very. Most of the time, Bluey episodes focus on everyday situations, kids' games, unexpected problems, disagreements, and funny moments, without going much beyond what could happen in a real child's life. However, there is one scene that could change everything we think we know, suggesting that magical creatures exist in the show's universe. This happens in the episode Fairies. In it, the kids are pretending that several invisible and mischievous fairies have invaded the house. Up to that point, everything seems normal because it's all just make-believe. But at the end, Bingo actually spots a real fairy that appears and places a domino in the correct spot. And when she calls her dad to look, Bandit seems unable to see the fairy, as if those creatures can only be seen by children. The episode ends like that, and it's never explained what really happened. Do fairies actually exist in Bluey, and are adults unable to see them? Or was Bingo just imagining it, and that's why Bandit couldn't see the tiny creature? And keep in mind, this is just one of the 8 biggest unsolved mysteries in Bluey. It's time to have fun with us in another Cinewave. Chilli's mom. Almost all of the little blue pup's grandparents have appeared in the series. Grandma Chris has shown up in several episodes, and Grandpa Bob has also made appearances. Both are Bandit's parents. On the maternal side, we have Grandpa Mort, who has had important roles in a few episodes. The only one who never appeared was Chilli's mother, at least not physically, because she only appeared in photos and in Chilli's imagination. Sadly, Bluey's grandma has already passed away, so we'll never see the two of them interacting. But it was never explained how or when this tragedy happened to Chilli's mom. The only thing fans can really do in this situation is theorize. Many believe it was due to some illness, which makes sense, while others go further and think it may have been an accident. More specifically, a horse-related accident. After all, there's a photo that shows Chilli's mother riding a horse, indicating that she enjoyed that activity. Unfortunately, many people have suffered serious injuries after falling from a horse. One example is actor Christopher Reeve, who played Superman in older movies. He became quadriplegic after an accident like that, which changed his life forever. Chilli's mother may have passed away for that same reason, but we'll only know for sure when the true story behind this tragedy is told. Bluey's unborn sibling. There is another mystery connected to a sad part of Chilli's life. We're talking about Bluey's unborn sibling. In case you didn't know, the little blue pup's mom was once pregnant with another baby who was neither Bluey nor Bingo, but that baby sadly passed away before being born. This was hinted at in the episode The Show, when Bingo was playing Chilli in a performance and put a balloon under her shirt to represent the pregnancy that would lead to Bluey's birth. The problem is that the balloon popped against Bingo's belly, leaving Chilli in shock. Bandit even held her hand in an attempt to comfort her, showing that the moment made the couple, especially Chilli, relive a terrible memory. Later on, the show's creator himself, Joe Brum, confirmed in an interview that Chilli really had lost a baby. But the mystery isn't about the existence of Bluey's unborn sibling, it's about the details that were never revealed. For example, had Chilli and Bandit already chosen a name for the pup? Did they already know whether it was a boy or a girl? If they did know, then would the baby have been a boy or a girl? And would the baby have been born before or after Bluey? Either way, it's very sad to know that Chilli's daughters were supposed to have another brother or sister, but a tragic event prevented that from happening. Would you also like to see any of these mysteries solved in the show? If so, comment down below with #mystery. Money. Something that's very clear, but that not everyone notices, is that the Healer family has a lot of money. Their house is very large, and nowadays, it would cost a fortune, around 4 million Australian dollars. And that makes sense when we remember that it's a home with at least 3 bedrooms, located on a hill in the city of Brisbane, where most houses are very expensive today. Adding that to the fact that Bluey and Bingo have dozens of expensive toys, plus all the trips the Healer family has taken in about a year, it's clear that they are very wealthy. But how do they make so much money? Bandit is just an archaeologist, and Chilli works as an airport security officer, but only part-time. The math doesn't really add up. There's no direct explanation for this, but some fans have found clues that might explain all of it. First, Bandit is around 43 to 46 years old, and Chilli is just a bit younger, so they could very well have bought that house in the mid-2000s, when Brisbane home prices were considerably lower. In addition, it's possible that their jobs pay better than we might assume. Bandit was responsible for finding the only only known fossil of the first dog to walk upright. That's a groundbreaking archaeological discovery, showing that Bluey's dad isn't just any archaeologist, he's a legend in his field. Chilli may also be more important than she seems. In the episode Tradies, she spends a few days working from home, which suggests she isn't just a regular security guard, but a security manager. The airport depends on her to keep things running smoothly, which means she likely earns a very high salary as well. Still, none of this has been clearly explained within the series, so the question remains whether they truly earn that much. Stripe's income. As if that weren't enough, Stripe's side of the Healer family also seems to be loaded. The House of Bandit's younger brother is even bigger and more luxurious, and both Muffin and Socks get even more toys than Bluey and Bingo. Seriously, Muffin even has a car she can drive herself. Things start to make more sense when we remember that Muffin has a YouTube channel, which is shown in the short Muffin Unboxing, where she presents a video showing her new toy. The interesting part is that Muffin says she didn't even want that toy, and her dad replies that it was the one they sent. That line suggests the video is sponsored by a toy company. Her channel is popular enough to receive sponsorships, which must bring in a lot of money for the little girl's family. Maybe that's their main source of income. That would also explain why Stripe and Trixie have such a hard time setting limits for Muffin. It's difficult to discipline a child when she's the one financially supporting the household, especially since everything could fall apart if Muffin decides to stop making videos. Many people criticize families who have their children host kids' videos because of the dangers that early fame can bring. And this Bluey short seems to criticize that as well, since Muffin is clearly not having fun while recording that video. Will Muffin's channel be mentioned more often in the future of the series? Bingo in the hospital. The episode Bumpy and the Wise Old Wolfhound is very sweet. In it, Bingo is in the hospital and watches a video made by Bluey and her friends so the little sister won't feel sad. But the episode never explains something very basic. Why did Bingo end up in the hospital? To this day, that question hasn't been answered. The episode begins with the doctor checking the girl's breathing, which may indicate that Bingo had some kind of respiratory issue. Did she suffer an allergic reaction? One thing allergies can cause is throat swelling, which leads to breathing difficulties, and that can be fatal. This theory makes even more sense when we look at a later episode called Daddy Drop-Off. In it, we see Bandit packing the girls' lunches, but he only puts gluten-free foods in Bingo's lunchbox, which is a very strong clue that she's allergic to gluten. What if that allergy was only discovered after she had an allergic reaction in the Bumpy episode?
Want to keep having fun with us? Then subscribe and turn on the notification bell.
Grandpa Bob. For a long time, one of the biggest mysteries in Bluey was Grandpa Bob's whereabouts. After appearing in the Season 1 episode Grannies, Bob simply disappeared. All of his later appearances were only through pictures, mentions, or flashbacks, which led many people to believe he had passed away off-screen. The mystery continued until the episode The Sign at the end of Season 3. After more than 100 episodes, Bob finally reappeared and revealed that he had been on a self-discovery trip in India, a pretty strange explanation. Many people see this as the end of the mystery, but others see it as just the beginning of another one. Was Bob really traveling in India? Or was that just a lie to hide a much darker truth? What if, for example, he is secretly very sick and has actually been hospitalized this whole time to treat his illness? Bob might be hiding it to avoid causing unnecessary worry. If that's the case, a future Bluey episode will certainly touch on this subject and reveal the truth. Jean-Luc. If there is one truly heartbreaking episode in Bluey, it's Camping, the one where a Canadian Labrador named Jean-Luc appears and becomes a great friend to Bluey, even though he can only speak French. The saddest part of that episode is when he has to leave and return to his country, but fortunately, we see that he will come back in the future as a teenager and reunite with Bluey. But what about the language barrier? Will it keep making things difficult between them, or will it be broken once Jean-Luc learns to speak the same language as the little blue pup? In the reunion scene, Jean-Luc greets Bluey in the same language she speaks, which gives us hope, but we can't be certain based on that short line alone. Anyone can greet someone in a language they don't actually speak. You just need to remember how to say hello in that language. It's also worth pointing out that Jean-Luc lives in Canada. A large part of the country speaks French, but another large part speaks English, the same language spoken in Australia where Bluey lives. So it's completely possible that Jean-Luc becomes fluent in English by the time he reaches his teenage years. The next step is right in front of you. 2 fun-filled videos waiting for your click. Thanks, and see you soon.